Originals. This is the first of 3 trainings that we have for you on the disc, and I'm pleased to welcome Shirley Voorhees. She's been on staff with us since 2016, and she is a certified master trainer in disc. And so enjoy this training.
Good afternoon, ladies. I am so excited to share with you some information today that we believe is going to help you not only as you fulfill your roles within Stonecroft, but will help enhance every relationship that you have. I'm sure that if I were to ask you to raise your hand if you have ever noticed that there are people out there who are different from you, your hand would shoot up immediately. And I'm also sure that if I were to ask you if you live with, used to live with, or work with someone who is different from you, every hand would be raised. We all have people in our lives whose differences mystify us, aggravate us, and sometimes just drive us crazy. But you know what? God did not create us different in order to frustrate us, but rather so that we could collectively reflect all the attributes of his character. So what I want to share with you is a tool that will help demystify people for you, a tool that will help you not just tolerate those who are around you, but actually be able to celebrate the differences. Because what usually happens is that we tolerate people. Why did it not move? Because we tolerate people that irritate us until we can figure out a way to eliminate them. Our goal, however, should be to move beyond toleration to celebration and appreciation. The tool that I'm talking about is the DISC model of human behavior. Some of you may already be familiar with it. You may even know that you're a D, I, S, or C. But what I find most often is that while people have maybe heard of it or had a little bit of knowledge about it, they don't know much about how to make it work for them. And I want to help you understand the model in a way that works. See, each of us comes hardwired with certain characteristics that form our personality style. We aren't given a choice about it. God designed us in the way that he saw fit with the personality traits that we would need to do what he created us to do. All of us are a unique blend of the 4 basic personality styles. And while you may be similar to someone else in the way that you're hardwired, your upbringing, education, culture, family, life experiences, and your responses to all of that is what makes you uniquely who you are and makes you distinctly qualified to carry out the purpose for which you were designed. Your personality style colors everything. The way you see things, the way you think, the way you respond to life, how you talk, how you parent, how you work, how you make your decisions, literally everything. Many of these personality traits are observable and tend to fall into patterns. And when we understand what those patterns are, they help us understand not only ourselves better, but also helps us understand those around us better. After this session, you're going to be able to see and recognize those patterns. So let's get started. The DISC model of human behavior is best illustrated by a circle. And we will first draw a line horizontally dividing the circle into 2 halves. The upper portion of the circle we will label outgoing, and the bottom half we will label reserved. These 2 distinctions have to do with our internal motor, the speed at which we do life. And it's a very noticeable and recognizable trait. Those who are outgoing are fast-paced. They have an internal motor that goes na 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 all the time. Everything they do is fast. They eat fast, talk fast, walk fast. Even if they don't have to be in a hurry, they are. They like to go places and do things. They tend to have a lot of energy and enthusiasm, and they are often optimistic about life. Those who are on the bottom half of the circle, we say, are reserved. They are slower paced. They don't get in much of a hurry about anything. Their internal motor just sort of purrs, just sort of hums. They prefer doing things at a slower pace because that gives them time to gather all the necessary information to make the right decision. They tend to be more cautious about life and a little more tentative. Now we're going to divide the circle vertically. On the left are those who are task-oriented, and on the right are those who are more people-oriented. This has to do with our compass. Are we more motivated toward task or people? Some of us come hardwired toward getting the task done. Our focus is on our work, getting results, and getting it right. It's not that we don't like people. We do. It's just that being able to check tasks off of our list is what lights our fire. And then there are others of us who are wired toward people. For us, it's all about the relationships. We like getting things done too, but not at the expense of the people involved. We will go to great lengths to preserve our friendships and relationships. Now, when we put both of those ways of dividing the circle together, we end up with 4 quadrants, and we assign a letter to each of the quadrants, D, I, S, and C. And we also ascribe words beginning with each of those letters that are descriptive of that personality style. So in order to help you understand what this model looks like, I thought it would be fun to introduce you to 4 different women. Each one has her own sense of style, her own set of strengths and challenges. You will probably find yourself identifying more strongly with one than the others. And while I have assigned a name to each one, you will also likely think of someone in your world that she resembles. She might even be you. First, I'd like for you to meet Deanne. She lives in the outgoing and task-oriented quadrant of our circle. She is decisive and self-confident. She moves with a purpose. In fact, you may hear her coming before you actually see her because typically she walks with a heavy gait. That's because she is on a mission. You'll know when she's in her room because she will likely take a moment to survey the situation, and then she may take over. She is a dominant woman. She likes to be in charge, and she is a dynamic leader. People look to her for leadership. And this lady is a doer. She can accomplish more in a couple of hours than most others can do in an entire day. You see, she is driven. She thrives on activity and production. She's very task-oriented. She has got things to do, places to go, and people to see. She wakes up in the morning with an agenda, and her main focus is to accomplish everything on that list by the end of the day. Direct is another good descriptive word for Deanne. She is direct in her approach to problems, and she's direct in her form of communication. You never have to wonder where you stand with her because she will tell you. And when you talk to her, she wants you to get to the point. Just get down to business, give her the bottom line, and move on. She is adventuresome by nature and has a pioneering spirit. Some of the activities that she might enjoy would be things like skydiving or scuba diving or rock climbing, something a little edgy. She loves a challenge. Doing something physical like that is the way that Deanne de-stresses and recharges. She tends to dress in power colors and things that make a dramatic statement. And if she wears jewelry at all, it will likely be bold. The next woman I'd like you to meet is Isabel. We'll call her Izzy. She too is outgoing, but she is people-oriented. Just like her name begins with the letter I, there are some I words that best describe her style. First of all, she is inspiring. She is so full of life and energy that people are just naturally drawn to her. She is an eternal optimist and rarely has a down day. Izzy is also very interactive. She loves people. In fact, the more the merrier. You rarely find her alone because she likes to influence people to join her in whatever it is that she may be doing. She is a great networker because she never meets a stranger. Her skills at meeting people and making friends of them quickly is impressive. Izzy likes to be involved in a lot of things because she likes to be in the know and she loves variety. She is very open with her life, and you may know more about her in short order than you really care to know. She is also impressionable and tends to live in the moment. See, whatever restaurant she just ate at is the best one she has ever been to. Or the last movie that she saw is the best ever, and you just have to see that movie. Izzy loves to have fun. She is always interested in throwing a party or entertaining. That's how she recharges her emotional battery. She tends to dress in bright colors and trendy clothes. You know how we call this series the Designer Original? Well, designers love Izzy because she can be counted on to buy the latest fashions. She also tends to wear lots of jewelry, and if it wiggles, jiggles, and makes noise, well, that's all the more fun for her. Our next lady is Sydney, and she resides in the lower part of our circle. She's reserved and people-oriented. Although she's very reserved and a bit on the shy side, she is one of the sweetest people you would ever want to meet. She has a servant's heart and just wants to know how she can support you. She's self-sacrificing and rarely thinks about her own needs as she seeks to help others. Sydney is like a rock of Gibraltar in that she's very steady in her moods and can often keep her cool in times of crisis. She's very easy to be around and pleasant because she doesn't have many of the highs and lows of some of the other personality styles. She has a soft, sweet smile for just about everyone she meets. And if you didn't know better, you might be tempted to think that she never has a problem because she keeps those to herself. She really is pretty private. Sydney will almost often wait for someone to engage her in conversation before talking, but when she does communicate with you, she may have a tendency to sort of beat around the bush, especially if it's a difficult conversation. And the reason for that is that she never wants to hurt anyone's feelings. So she tries to be very diplomatic in everything that she says. The way she tends to recharge is by doing unconstructed activities like taking a nap or watching a movie. And if she watches a movie, it's probably going to be one that she has seen several times before because the characters are familiar and they almost seem like friends to her. She tends to dress for comfort and will often choose more muted colors because she doesn't want to stand out or call attention to herself. She definitely does not go for bling. So jewelry will typically only be what has sentimental value to her. The last woman I'd like for you to meet is Clarice. She's in the lower left quadrant of our circle because she is reserved and task-oriented. She is cautious about almost everything. She's cautious in making friends because it takes her a while to determine whether someone can be trusted or not. She's also cautious in making decisions because she needs to gather all the pertinent information and do all the research first so that she makes the right decision. She's cautious with her spending. Clarice actually has a budget and she sticks to it. She is competent. She will almost never approach a task unless she knows what she's doing. But when you do give her a job to do, she will be conscientious about it and diligent down to the last detail. If you want a job done right, give it to her. She is contemplative. She thinks a lot. If you ask her a question, don't expect an immediate answer. She will need to think about it first before she answers. But when she finally does give you an answer, you can count on the fact that she has thought it through thoroughly and from every angle. Clarice is also careful. She likes to check things several times to make sure that everything is correct. It just kills her to make a mistake or to get something wrong. Clarice tends to be very private and can sometimes be hard to read because she doesn't give anything away by the look on her face. She doesn't smile a lot or enter into conversation unless her opinion is asked. However, if you do ask for her opinion, be prepared to hear the truth, because to her, right is right and wrong is wrong. She sees in black and white. There is no gray. And she assumes that if you have asked for her opinion, you must truly want to know the right answer. Clarice can often get lost in thought and be oblivious to those around her. And she may be hesitant to talk because she typically doesn't talk unless she has something important to say. She just doesn't like small talk very much. When communicating with Clarice, give her the facts. Oh, and just a word of warning, make sure your facts are correct. She typically recharges by doing cognitive activities like word puzzles or just sitting quietly alone with her thoughts. Her style is typically classic and simple in design. She is not big on frills or ruffles, and she tends to like a more traditional cut in her clothing. Her colors tend to be rather basic and her jewelry minimal. So tell me, ladies, did you see yourself in any of those women? You may actually have seen yourself in more than one. Remember I said earlier that we are all a blend of all four styles? We just tend to be stronger in certain characteristics than others. You came hardwired to be a certain way, and then all of your other life experiences and your responses to them have made you who you are. Knowing your unique design and how to work with it will help you live more confidently. And after you recognized your own traits, did you also think, oh my gosh, that's my mom? Or that's so-and-so on our planning team? I'm sure you did, because it happens every time I present this information. I can almost see the light bulbs of recognition going on all over the room. Learning how to see the patterns in others helps us to live and work with them more successfully. Today, I've only been able to give you a taste of this powerful and transforming information, but not to worry, because we're going to have a couple more sessions, one in which we talk about what is likely to cause conflict with the different personalities and how best to address it. And then we'll do another session discussing what each personality style brings to your team. Ladies, when we take the time to understand these things, we really can learn how to not just tolerate those around us, but how to celebrate one another.